Remember when he took them to Neverland and like put his finger up their bums, and that was the narrative for the longest time?
Remember when they released blueprints from his home and his playroom was like down a corridor over traps and 3 doors you got to walk through and 2 guards, and you have to spin 2 things at the same time from opposite sides of the room, and the floor is made of squeaky toys, and then there's another door, and then there's an alarm that says take your tongue out of it, and then there's another door, and then you have to unlock 3 keys in corresponding positions, and then recite the entirety of Corinthians 8:11, and then you get in, and then you ring a doorbell.
Do you think maybe he was trying to hide something?
Yeah.
Does anyone have cyanide?
Speaking of sexual offenders. Not every time. I've just shit myself. Yeah, there we are. Oh, that's a bit funny.
Oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
Do I love you, my.
So we're I thought we were ready. That's so loud when you ding that around. I thought we were ready to get back into it, and then I realized I'm missing still so much stuff. I sent them my like extenders for the headphones, and apparently I've just lost an XLR cable, so fucking egg on my face. If anyone wants to understand what I meant when I'm like talking about the rage of trying to set up your system, when I said to you, do you have an XLR cable? And you said, I don't know what that is. And I said, it's a mic cable, 3-pin. And then you sent me a picture of an auxiliary cable for some fucking reason.
I didn't read the 3-pin bit.
But what made you think that was a...
I just thought it was a mic cable. I don't know. I was clutching at straws.
Yeah, don't clutch at straws. Just don't try. Just don't help me. Are you going to do the podcast from down there?
I don't know what I'm going to do, actually.
You're just in motion?
I don't know what I'm actually going to do, actually.
Just in life?
Yeah.
So you are surrounded by dogs. That's a funny angle.
Little birdie.
What's going on?
Not much.
Not much. You've had a pretty good couple of days.
I've had such a good couple of days.
We don't need to talk. We don't need it.
I have had such a good couple of days. Hey, 2025. Can you fuck off?
I think we've learned enough lessons in 2025. Can it just chill out a little?
2025. Could you relax?
I just
a little
spat
bit?
everywhere.
We lost the bunny.
Oh, okay. We're talking about it.
We can talk about it.
All right. Yeah. She the bunny died. Muppet.
Muppy.
If you start crying on the podcast, it's gonna be I can't publish it.
Really?
It's not gonna be enjoyable.
I will not cry.
The thing that I'm so glad the podcast can't see my face.
I was gonna say they can see me. They can't see you right now.
I look like a monster. I'm smiling my way through this just because. You know, when it happened, nothing. I'm there for you. I got you back 100%.
Yeah.
Now that it's like a conversation for content, I'm so uncomfortable. The thing that everyone said might happen happened.
Yeah.
And are we really talking about it?
Yeah.
And Lulu got the rabbit. In a brief moment of eyes off the ball.
It wasn't even eyes off the ball. I had her room barricaded. I went outside to hang the washing out. And these fucking mongrels.
These full fucking monkeys.
Pushed through the barricade, kicked the fence down. And then it was...
Game on, Mole.
Too late.
They got in there.
Yeah.
They tore it apart, pieces. That was a quote from an ad. All right, let's stop talking about the actual event.
Should have been their dad.
Should have been their dad. Yeah, it was sad.
It was. That's the first time Matt's ever seen me cry.
Yeah.
Like cry.
Yeah, I've seen you like post tears or like. Yeah, that was you were
like silent
distraught. Just absolutely distraught.
It was rough.
I didn't know what to do.
Nah.
Yeah.
Not many people do. When one of your pets gets fucking mauled to death.
Yeah. Don't picture the worst scenes in the world, everybody. It wasn't like half a rabbit. It was just she'd had a good bite. She'd been attacked pretty well. But, yeah, we buried her.
We buried her.
I had no fucking clue what to do there. I put her in a cornflakes box.
She's in a cornflakes box.
I didn't know what to do. I was trying so hard to
You tried. You dug a hole.
Yeah.
You had a small memorial and she's on the Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah, yeah. Now, when you said to me, here's something. When you said, maybe we can bury her at like your folks' place. I was like, that's a really good idea. It's just probably not now because I don't think you want to dig up the rabbit and move it because it won't be. It'll be scarring, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she can stay there.
Yeah.
The dogs aren't going to get to her in the front yard, so she can be with me all the time. I've just been very, very sad.
Been sad.
I've been sad little
She's been
lady.
a sad girl.
So I've been trying to stream a bit just to keep my... I went to hospital on Monday. That was fucking annoying. AIDS. Full-blown AIDS.
Yeah.
I need to...
I will cut that out.
Yeah. Thank you. Not AIDS, just bad heart.
Yeah. Well, I think to be
it's full-blown anxiety.
I think the heart's fine. I think the anxiety. You're not. It's not something I'm not common. I haven't experienced. I had my heart year. I had the full heart year. That sounds interesting. There is a frustrating saying. Guys, I will at some point between this podcast and the next one say that was such a bad idea. Before the next podcast, I will rework out this setup because I can hear a buzzing. Sienna can't hear anything. We don't have cameras. We'll work it out.
If I drop this and break my tooth.
That'll be the fucking end of it. You won't even... You'll be done. My mum broke her tooth. This can't be enjoyable. This has got to be the most dog shit content we've ever produced.
Oh, go deeper, Daddy.
Did we tell everybody about exponential? You're so fucking stupid. Sienna.
Just another Sienna reference.
We were playing Stardew Valley with friend Connie, and I said, or she said.
No, Connie said.
Something's
it's gonna be exponential.
She said she's gonna something at an exponential rate. And I said, don't use big words like exponential. Sienna won't get you as a gag. And then I went, you know what's funny? Actually, I wonder if Sienna knows what exponential means.
Sienna.
And you were like, oh, I know. It means like big, like huge, like it's exponential. It's exponential. And I was like, oh, sorry, say that again. And you're like it's huge, like exponential. I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's what I thought you said. It's exponential, not exponential. And you said, whatever, exponential, whatever. And it was easily one of the greatest moments of my life. Watching you just crumble under the...
Yeah, it's exponential.
You're watching you crumble under the description.
I've got a lot of exponential.
You got zero exponential. You're a real fixer-upper.
Yeah.
No, you crumbled under the description of what I meant. And then you said the wrong word twice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's exponential?
Exponential.
And I said, yeah, exponential.
Yeah. Now
whatever, exponential, whatever.
What is happening with this dog? I think, I don't want to say it confidently in case I'm wrong, but I believe exponential is like at how do I describe it? Like times itself.
Yes,
like
it multiplies
when something's growing
itself.
exponentially, it means it's growing, but the growth is increasing. 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. That's exponential. I believe. Please be careful that you don't drop that on your fucking face.
That'd be funny.
That would be good content.
This just gives you a reason to come over to YouTube to see what the fuck's happening right now.
Sienna is fully she's all over the shop. She's doing well.
I'm not. That's a lie.
We're watching a mental breakdown take place live.
Look at my little tooties on the camera.
Ugh, they're going all over my floor. I'm gonna have to run the mop over that. Come on, what's been going on this There's gonna be something to talk about. Do I have any notes? I think I've got nothing. Here's the thing. Yeah.
Super Bowl's on. Next.
Next topic.
Drake's in big trouble.
Is he in big trouble?
I'm pretty sure he's in big trouble.
He's not really in big trouble.
He's probably a pedophile.
He's still touring. Yeah, but that's the thing. He's probably a pedophile.
We don't know.
He's maybe a groomer.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. And this is going to come out maybe wrong, but innocent until proven guilty. I'm all about that. There's something about the entire world screaming a minor to someone who is
not even there.
Not even like hasn't done anything substantial except rumors.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Which where there's smoke, there's fire, probably. Mm-hmm. And he did have that whole thing where he was like texting Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, we're good friends. We talk all the time." Yeah, he's probably doing some like grooming and weird shit in the industry. But there was something. Imagine a reality where he's not. He's just a dude, living his life.
What?
And he's like, "What is
Kendrick?
Everybody's saying I'm certified lover boy, certified pedophile.
What's my ex-girlfriend, the tennis player, doing on the Super Bowl?
What the fuck?
Certified
lover boy, certified pedophile." And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Heard you like him young.
I'm like, I thought I was. I don't know.
I just like making music and wearing puffy shirts.
I thought we were all getting along.
I just wanted to sing about God's plan.
God plan. I'll tell you what, there is this this is a bit of a hack bit because I heard this from a comedian who was talking about it, but it's become my new stim. And I keep going,
I love a stim.
I think it was Kendrick. Let me double check. No, I'm so sorry. It was Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne has a verse in this song, right? And halfway through it, he says a line and then he just goes, "Oh." And it's not
cheese voice.
You look up the lyrics and he's not saying a word. He's just going, "Oh." And that's why I keep going, "Oh." If you ever hear me go, "Oh." And now I keep doing that.
Bitch. Yeah, that's wild.
I can't stop. I can't stop saying "oh." Yeah. Everywhere, all over the house. Let's talk about something.
I had something to say. Lady Gaga's back.
Back?
Well, she's back releasing new music, and I don't like it.
Well, next. No, what's it like? I haven't heard a single thing about it.
The Abracadabra song?
You remember when everyone was just like, Lady Gaga's a hermaphrodite?
Yes, I
Remember
do.
that patch of time where we all just accepted that she had both genitalia?
Yeah.
And that was just the narrative?
Yeah.
For the longest time.
Oh, for the longest.
You remember when
penis.
everyone was like, Michael Jackson had a sex change? And that was just the narrative for the longest time?
Do you remember when Michael Jackson touched kids and then that was the narrative for the longest time?
Yeah.
Remember when he took them to Neverland and like put his finger up their bums and that was the narrative for the longest time?
Remember when they released blueprints from his home and his playroom was like down a corridor over traps and 3 doors you got to walk through and 2 guards and you have to spin 2 things at the same time from opposite sides of the room and the floor is made of squeaky toys and then there's another door and then there's an alarm that says take your tongue out of it and then there's another door and then you have to unlock 3 keys in corresponding positions and then recite the entirety of Corinthians 8:11 and then you get in and then you ring a doorbell.
Do you think maybe he was trying to hide something?
Yeah, it was something like that. His like playroom where he like where he took everyone to hang out, or his like bedroom was like, it was like you had to go into a thing and then you had to go like down like a long corridor that was, it was some like crazy weird way where you'd know someone was coming.
That's fucked.
And I remember that made me laugh.
Brother, just give it up.
Yeah, he definitely. Did you watch that documentary?
No, I haven't.
It's fucking wild, and it's just that these 2 fellas have like stories that really line up before they'd met each other.
I was going to say, do you remember the two kids that never met each other before and they told the same story about what happened?
Yep. And the other side of the narrative is that they're both making it up for money, which is always, it's that narrative's really tough because...
Of course, they're going to get paid regardless whether they're sharing truth or lie.
And realistically, how much are you getting paid for this documentary where you weigh it up with, oh, everyone's going to think that I showed Michael Jackson my asshole and blew him and whatever, and all the side effects that come with telling the world that story if it was a lie, do they outweigh the cash? Please try and piece together what I was trying to say, everybody. I'm just saying
it's like, it's so embarrassing to say the story.
Yeah,
Is it enough cash to...
They're not riding off into the sunset.
No. They're like, hey, I was molested.
Yeah, and also they're dealing with... They know that people are going to think that they're lying, and they're going up against a mammoth. So a good chunk of people are going to be like, you're not telling the truth. And what do they get? Like a few tens of thousands of dollars, if that. It's a documentary. They're not fucking RDJ and the fucking... Avengers.
Yeah.
They're not making dumb money.
Yeah.
And they're not going on, well, I say this without even looking it up. It's not like they're going now on a book tour and a speaking tour and stuff like that.
This is my truth.
No, they both got...
Like, hey, this awful thing happened to me. Peace out.
The one part of the documentary I remember is him saying that, like, the thing that he liked to do was he would sit on the bed, like at the back of the bed, like near where the pillows are, and he would get them to just sit on the corner of the bed at the opposite side and just bend over and spread their asshole, and he would just look at their asshole and jack off, and that was like his thing. And it was like, oh, you know, I don't like that.
Nope.
I don't like that at all.
No.
Yeah, and then it's like where there's smoke, there's fire. He just like become best friends with these kids. Go to their like this.
First of all, no, don't become best friends with 12-year-olds. I'm sorry, you're a grown-ass adult. I don't care how much you're like, I just love the children. I'm a child at heart.
I love the children, I'm a future.
I love the children. That's fine. Love the children with other adults in the room so it's a safe environment.
Yeah.
Don't be like, we're going to have sleepover behind 14 metal doors. Nobody's going to know.
They in one of them he like became really close with this kid and the family, and he would like spend time with them, and he would go to their house, and at this point in the world he's the biggest pop star in the world.
Isn't that when he came in like matching pajamas or something?
They had this photo of them from Christmas, and he had matching pajamas with the two brothers.
Can you insert the photo? It's on the internet.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. And it's like picture any house in the 90s. It's just like a middle class shag carpet,
average.
Crappy couch, and he's on the floor sitting in front of them with the other kids, and I'm like, that's the picture that should be like the DVD cover of it. It's so disturbing.
Yeah, it's like,
and they look at it like,
isn't
that sweet? We like, this was Christmas with Michael. I'm like, what is he doing?
Yeah, he's not there for the parents, guys, and they're not Make-A-Wish kids either.
No,
they're just his friends. And what do? They're like, oh, Michael, did you want to sleep in bed with James? Why, yes, I would love to share a bed with him.
This is my impression of Michael answering that question. Ask me the question.
Mark, would you like to sleep in bed with James?
Yes.
Did I sound like...
You were doing like a southern accent for some reason.
Would you like to sleep in the bed with James?
Yes, please. Straight on it. He wouldn't have missed a breath.
Yes, please.
No, wait, let me try it again.
Michael, would you like to sleep
Yes.
Woo!
Ow! That's it. Yeah, he liked him young. No, I don't want to cast. I don't want to make false claims and cast. But he liked him young. Yeah. He liked his romantic partners like he liked his steak rare. He liked his romantic partners like he liked his meat veal.
Veal young.
Veal young. Veal illegal, actually.
Veal young.
Veal stared right into their buttholes and JD's D.
I have nothing to talk about, but I do have something that will probably not make it
Go on.
because it's going to be so boring.
Okay.
But I want to deep dive.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Boring alert! Boring alert! No!
Yeah, can I veto?
Yeah, big
All right,
time.
go on.
You have now completed chapter 4 of Poppy's Playtime.
Oh, my God.
And there's one chapter left.
No one's going to care.
That's what I mean.
Okay. What's the question?
I was going to ask you, how do you think this is going to end?
Couldn't tell you.
Great.
I have no speculation. The question of like, was the little kid the prototype that everyone was like, you were like, I think he's prototype or part of prototype. And I was like, nah. And then he was. That's the only speculation I've heard. And now that's confirmed.
So we've got Monster Huggy, who's just Monster, who was kid put inside Big Huggy for security. That's what they built him for. Kissy Missy, Orphan.
For context, everybody, because that's a weird sentence out loud. In this game, there are monsters, like giant toy monsters, but they're created by putting the consciousness of a...
And like the body parts.
Are there body parts in
Yeah.
there? Physically putting a consciousness and body parts of a child inside these things, and that's what gives them life.
And some kids like Huggy Wuggy have only amplified the bad personalities of the
And
child.
they're all
turned into
orphans.
They're all orphans. Being like, I would like to be a part of the Big Bodies initiative. We find
And there
out
was
that
that one kid who fell into
Poppy and the prototype knew about the Hour of Joy together.
The Hour of Joy being the moment when all the toys fucking broke
Revolt.
loose,
Yeah.
revolt, and killed everybody who worked at this factory.
For freedom for Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For freedom for Scotland.
So all the toys, including like Kissy Missy and, you know, all the good toys turned evil and massacred everyone. Like all the visitors killed, all the workers killed, except for our player.
Yeah.
And a couple of others.
Because wasn't that player like, he was having a sick day?
Yeah.
He
Just
wasn't
didn't come
there.
to work. What a
Yep.
lucky guy.
Yeah. Imagine that'd be like, that's like taking a sick day on 9/11
Yeah, big time.
and being like,
big
because there
time.
must have been someone who was
There
like,
is stories. I've seen stories of being like, I was booked on that flight and I didn't go on it.
or people being like who worked at the towers being like, oh, sorry, I can't come in today. I got a cold. And they're like, boss, believe me, I'm hungover.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd be like, well, thank fuck.
Thank fuck.
I'd never go to work again.
I'd just drink forever. I'd be
Yeah.
like, this is a sign.
Oh, my fucking phone. Keep going.
So we find out that Ollie has been killed a long time ago,
Yeah.
who was our little phone helper.
Yeah.
Turns out that was the prototype since
Yeah.
we got back there.
We know the prototype being like the big bad
Well,
boss.
yeah,
The
big bad boss, we
big
don't know.
badass, or his personality too.
Three workers.
Man, that would have made fucking no sense. What the everything I just said then for the viewer who aren't familiar with Poppy Playtime, that'd have been like, what the fuck did he just say?
Mm-hmm.
This is like explaining the Matrix.
There was three workers who survived.
Yeah.
And there was the doctor who was conducting all these experiments, and they weren't completely agreeing with the ethical values of it all about taking the orphans, and they don't know what they're going into. So they rip the doctor to shreds and they turn him into this machine and they lock him up. And then the prototype and the doctor, once the doctor is a machine, which is like a big television, work together to uncover this secret, which we don't know yet. They said to the prototype said to the doctor, you're only here because I need you. And if I didn't need you, you would have been eaten by now.
Yeah.
We would have eaten you and taken you for spare parts or whatever.
Yeah.
We also find out that Poppy is the owner's daughter, the owner's dead daughter. And she was maybe one of like the first creations.
Yeah, I mean,
Of
whole
the
game's
bigger
called
body?
Poppy Playtime.
Yeah. So they put her consciousness in this particular doll.
Yeah.
And then the prototype and Poppy were working together to escape. I think Poppy just wanted to escape and leave the facility. The prototype convinced her not to because the world wouldn't accept them and they need to stay underground where it's safe and controlled and we can live as toys down here because the human race will just do exactly what they did to me and butcher me and torture me and blah, blah, blah. So he locks Poppy away in a glass box. The Hour of Joy happens. And then Poppy, to our character, has been like, I had nothing to do with it the whole time.
Yeah.
It's all the prototype's fault. We've just found out that they were in cahoots. And Poppy has run away and abandoned Kissy Missy and us. And now Huggy Wuggy is still alive. And we're going into chapter 5, where Huggy Wuggy is our main villain with the prototype.
What the fuck? What the fuck? You're relieved you don't have to go to work because you thought you were going to get eaten? What the fuck is this world? What have they done to us? What did they do to us? My life is nothing I thought it should be and everything I was worried it would become because for 50 seconds I thought there was monsters on the world.
Now, I think they could finish off the chapter in chapter 5, the game in chapter 5, but I read something, it was like someone had said like possibly 10 chapters, and I'm like, if this game goes on for 10 chapters, I don't know how much I've got left in me. Because I can barely follow the story when they release a chapter every fucking year. And you go into it and you're like, this is already so layered. There's so many monsters. It's not a sequel. It's all the same game, the same story.
Yeah.
It's just broken up.
There's different characters now entering the fight, entering the battle.
Each chapter takes like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
This
sometimes
one,
3
I think,
hours
was
if you're
a
slow.
little long, yeah.
This one I felt like I got through quick.
You did. I
There
think
was
the
a-
chapter, like the elements of the chapter was long.
Mm-hmm.
Like they made this big deal in the marketing campaign about the nightmare critters, which were like nothing.
Yeah,
there was trailers about them, about Baba Chops, was that black sheep that was chasing you around for a bit. And like it made the game look like that was the main problem. I saw nothing about Doey, saw nothing about like the doctor or anything like that.
It was barely a problem.
Yeah, not at all.
didn't-
But it was Yarnaby and the nightmare critters that were the big marketing thing.
And they were nothing. Even Yarnaby wasn't really that.
Yarnaby was like your intro boss, you know, your first level problem child.
He was gone pretty quick.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
The chapter where you're in like there was a center. You were in like how to describe it, like a little towny kind of area.
Yeah, it was the orphanage.
And there was orphanage and then thing, and then
Play
down
care.
there. That's where you talked to Ollie for the first time.
Yeah.
That
he tells
chapter
you
felt that felt the longest to me.
Yeah, that was catnaps.
Yes, the catnap chapter. I felt like I did like 6 streams on, like
Yeah.
a lot of streams.
So you start. Poppy has crashed the train. You're about to escape.
Yeah.
And she's like, actually, I kind of like need you to stay here.
Yeah, I remember that.
Cat crashes the train. You end up in play care. You find out it's an orphanage.
Let's
And
not do a whole review of that chapter.
what was that?
Let's not do a whole review of that.
I won't. But you go from like rerouting all the wires to going through the orphanage and tripping out, like listening to the radio and you should have been there, you missed the meeting, and you like catnaps following you around.
Yeah.
To then going to a school and having that teacher chase you around. To then going back to fucking the orphanage and Catnap catches you with the red mist and you've got to go through some dream sequence thing. And then you fight Catnap at the end, but there's all of this puzzle bullshit in
Yeah,
between.
it went on forever.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're interested in this at all, it's all on my YouTube channel.
It's really good.
I think there's a Poppy Playtime playlist if you go to my. But if you go to the real GMat Poppy Playtime, there should be like chapter 1, part 1, part 2, chapter 2, part 1, part 2, part 3, chapter 3, part 1. But you know, it's all broken up like that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I mean, I never do the chapters in one sitting. So each chapter is like chapter 1 and then multiple parts. It's you guys know how to use the internet. Fucking sort it out.
There was so much lore in
Lore?
lore
Show me your lore.
in the 3rd and the 4th chapter. Like compared to just Mummy Longlegs and running the games, the Gauntlet games in chapter 2 to take it all the way to chapter 3 where there's now orphans and kids that got, you know, taken away and chopped up into pieces and people trying to take home orphans that were part of the experiment, and then the psycho teacher, and then all the smiling critters bullshit and their marketing fuck up when Catnap turned into a crazed monster because of his red smoke giving kids nightmares. Like, there's just so many elements compared to the first 2 chapters. It was like, whoa, do you guys maybe want to spread this out? Like, I felt like the first game could have just been a game
Yeah.
by itself.
Yeah, it was good. And it started so strong. It was simple. There was enough unsaid that you didn't really care. Like, I didn't need the lore of the factory. And you get into it and you really
No.
get the fucking lore of the factory.
Because it was like,
It was enough. They
it was
fed you
a
bits.
puzzle, puzzle game.
Puzzle
and
scary.
then you get the eeriness, and then you get the big chase at the end.
The villain is fucking Huggy Wuggy is fantastic.
Yeah. And
People cosplay. I remember that year, Beck and I went to some fucking
event, cosplay thing,
what are they called?
PAX or whatever.
Yeah, like a convention. And there was a Huggy, like a fucking good Huggy Wuggy, like a tall, like I don't know where the body
really?
was in the thing, and it was terrifying.
Fuck.
That was good.
Because you imagine like how big they are compared to the like you see on the Hour of Joy VHS tape. He like has to bend all the way down to snatch someone off the ground.
I remember like looking across like people and just seeing a Huggy Wuggy like way off in the distance, like, and I was like, oh, that's fucking great. I don't know how they did that costume. There's a picture of it deep in the Discord somewhere. But I won't find it.
Nah.
Yeah, good game.
It is a good game.
Yeah.
I do like I like those horror games where you've got a lot of lore, like Little
You
Nightmares.
really, you've clung to this like something else. This is like, yeah, you're super into this, and Little Nightmares.
That and Little Nightmares I'm really invested in.
That's
I'm very invested in. I'm very invested in the smaller characters that you see in playtime, like PJ Pugapilla.
You should get into Silent Hill. Silent Hill has some weird lore.
Yeah?
Like Silent Hill is weird, and like the history and the lore of the town is like, it's the same as this. You would only really know it if you were really locked in. Because I can't imagine you get all of this from just the game.
You got to
be
do
watching
the deep dives and stuff. Yeah.
There is a lot in Silent Hill about like history and the town and different people and what the town does, and then there's holes where you kind of have to work it out yourself, and then there's a lot of games in that series.
So Silent Hill's a place.
Yeah.
And it changes based on your mental state, right?
My understanding of Silent Hill,
Smooth transition.
it's it's pretty cool.
That's cute.
Pretty cool.
I saw on YouTube,
Yeah.
which I would like you to spoil for me. Pedro Pascal plays someone in a game where his daughter gets shot in his arms. Is that the last?
Yeah, but he doesn't play it in the game. He plays it in the TV show.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Why does the daughter get shot?
Was it the same in the I'm trying to remember if it was the same in the TV series. Have you not watched the Last of Us show?
No.
It's so fucking good.
I don't really like that people are made out of mushrooms.
You're a fool.
You're a damn fool.
You're done for. So apocalypse happens, everybody starts changing into zombies. They're like, right, let's get the fuck out of the city.
Yeah.
And it's Joel, Pedro Pascal,
Yeah.
his daughter and his brother, trying to escape together. And they are getting to like close to like, oh, we're about to escape, we're about to get out of here. And they run
Why
into,
do they have to escape?
because the whole city is like, people are changing into monsters, and it's like the whole city is turned into zombies, and like, let's get the fuck out of here because there's zombies everywhere.
And it was super quick. They're like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, in context, again, in the game, I can't remember if it was close to in the series. It was basically the same thing. But like in the game, he's like, shit's changing. Get in the car. We got to get away from the city. You get away from, in a zombie apocalypse, get away from where there's a lot of people. 'Cause
Yes.
People are going to, no one's going to see your fan in the camera, are they? Your fan. You get away. So they get in the car and they drive through the city to get out because they want to get on the highway, and it's kind of blocked up. A car hits them and their car flips and they have to get out of the car. So now they're in the city with people changing, things exploding, like it's anarchy. And so now they have to escape on foot, and they're just trying to get out of the city.
Yeah.
And they get out of the city, they run into some military soldier, the first soldier they've seen. And I guess the trope of zombie apocalypses is that once zombie apocalypse happens and it breaks down and the military takes control, it's ruthless. So the military person sees them.
Like execute everyone just in case.
Kinda, yeah. They run into him and he's like, oh, thank God. He's like, please, and he's like, don't move. And he's like, no, we're fine. He's like, don't fucking move. And they're like, okay. And he talks on the radio and he goes, I've just run into 2 civilians outside the safe zone, whatever safe zone they have, where they know everybody there is good.
Oh.
It's because at that point, you don't know how it spread. You don't know who's infected. You know nothing except people are changing, and these people were just there. So I get it to an extent of like, it's ruthless and it's cutthroat, but it's also sad. and it's that thing. I love it in the game. It gave me chills the first time I played the game, where he's like around civilians, and he says something like, "So they've got a kid with them." So you know he's saying kill them, and he's like, and his hesitation of being like okay, you hear it in his voice. So he pulls up his gun to shoot them. So that's basically it. He goes to shoot them, and then he fires on them, and Joel turns around to run, and they both he collapses like he's been shot, but he just kind of like trips, and they roll.
So
down.
he fires.
Yeah, the soldier fires on them. It's that quick thing where he runs to, and the fire goes off, and he falls, and he goes, and then his brother shows up right at the last second and fucking shoots the soldier in the head. He's like, okay, and then Joel's like, all right, I'm not hit, and then the daughter next to him, it has been hit, and that's how it sort of goes down.
Okay.
And then insert saddest scene of all fucking time.
Yeah.
Insert the worst moment in gaming history that fucking broke my heart in 2013. Yeah, it was bad. It was rough. I was like, oh my God, am I going to cry fucking 10 minutes into this game?
Because of the daughter.
Yeah, just I'd never seen performance so good in a video game because I do a motion capture in that. And just his Troy Baker, who played Joel in the game series, doing that scene where he's like, his daughter's dying and he's like, please don't die. And then she dies, and then dealing with that all in that little 20-second window. Oh, so good.
Is she dead when he finds
No, she's like dying and she's in pain and he's holding the thing, and then she's just like,
Oh, she's...
You know that thing? You know that? And she's gone. Yeah, it's real fucking good.
Fuck.
It's sad.
Does he have to leave her there?
Well, then it just jumps ahead 20 years.
Oh. Okay.
So that's like the opening, and then it's like 20 years later, and you run into Joel like deep into the apocalypse.
Right.
Which is cool. We fucking let's just the audio is like oh, you can't hear this.
Her leg's
Okay.
broken right there.
We're not sick.
Got a couple of civilians in the outer perimeter. Please advise.
Daddy, what about Uncle Tommy?
We're gonna get you to safety and go back for him, okay?
Sir, there's a little girl. But... Yes, sir.
Somebody, we've just been through hell. Okay, we just need... Shit.
Good shit.
Sarah. Move your hands, baby. I know, baby, I know. Listen to me, I know this hurts. You're gonna be okay, baby. Stay with me. All right, I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby, I know it hurts. Come on, baby, please. I know, baby, I know. Sarah. Baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. No. No. Please. Please.
It's real bad.
I feel like I just did that on Tuesday.
And watching them like do that scene
in real life.
Yeah, when they did, and it's funny because they're in their fucking green suits with bulbs on them and shit like that, doing the motion capture. And there's this like whole documentary thing about the making of, and there's this bit where they're talking about it, and they're like, we did the same fucking 20 times, like 20, 25, 30, 35, like just kept going on and on. And Neil Druckmann, who's the director, was like, it's just not right yet. And they like, it just didn't feel right because he's like Troy Baker talks about, he's like, I was being such a fucking actor. I was like I'm really acting like my daughter. I was just being too much of an actor. And then
okay,
just
like
sort of
being over the top.
Yeah, and he sort of just pared it back a little bit, kept it quiet instead of like the scream and the thing like that. Like, yeah, and that was that. Then that worked, and okay, we got it. That's it. And those classic stories of how they got the scene. But I like it because when I saw that scene for the first time, I was like, that's fucking good. And then, I don't know what Pedro, obviously I played that game, I don't know, rough estimate 40 million times.
Jesus Christ.
And
okay.
then I've watched the series once. And I remember being like, yes.
Oh, it was good?
Yes, Pedro.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's hard because it's one of the, for like gaming fans, it's one of the like,
One of these scenes?
one of the best scenes of all time. Like one of the most memorable moments in a video game of all time. And then you're seeing it played out and it's beat for beat. You're watching like a story you've already seen happen. And you're like, you better nail these moments. Because I've seen them done perfection and now you're never going to beat that. And then they do it and you're like, that was pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
You really you did that really fucking well. Yeah. Good job. Good job, everybody.
So the golf club thing hasn't happened yet?
No, don't spoil it because people won't. I don't want to. I don't know. There's people that watch the series and never play the game and they have no idea. They have no fucking idea what's coming. They have no idea the weeks of agony I went through.
I was going to say.
Dealing with online communities being like, this game fucking sucks. Oh. And you're like, relax. It's a good game. You're a dumb person. Mm-hmm. That's the only time I've ever been really like, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but I was such a mouthy cunt during that process. When people came into the Twitch stream like, oh, this game, like they ruined this game. I'm like, oh, that's okay. You can have your opinion because you're a dumb person. And
Is this for the second?
The second game. Because they did something that people didn't like.
Yep.
And,
does that something need to happen to progress the story?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't need to happen to progress a different story, but to progress this story, it was vital.
Okay.
It fit into the tone of the world. But the thing that people really didn't like is that there was this villain, Abby, who was a not transgendered woman, which people continue to like throw at. She was a woman who was
just
built
jacked. Yeah, she's
because
jacked.
a part of her story is that something happened to her when she was a child and she wants to enact her revenge. And to do that, she spends the rest of her teenage years and early adult years getting fucking jacked so that she can fuck people up.
But did they have a problem with the fact that she wasn't a lesbian, or did they, or like
no, they had
she wasn't gay?
They just thought that
Just
she was
too big muscle.
She was a woke character. People. The whole thing was like, oh, they had to put a trans character in here. How fucking?
But even though she's not
not trans. And you know, if they did put a trans character in there, what? Oh, sorry. And they did have a trans character or a non-binary character. I can't exactly remember.
But it wasn't Abby.
No, it wasn't. It was a side character.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that was about diversification or whether that was a narrative device that Neil Druckmann always wanted to have regardless of trying to diversify. But if he's trying to diversify his story, it's his fucking story. It's he can do whatever he wants. He still created a really good narrative that lived up to the first game. And it didn't feel, to me, like anything was wedged in there to appease the left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing was, it wasn't unbelievable what happened. It wasn't just suddenly like a diverse character who you wouldn't traditionally see shows up and you're like, oh, he's just put this in here to check boxes.
The token character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It worked. Anyways.
So people just had a problem with Abby's
Well,
build.
they had a problem because like at the start of the game, she does something that you're like, oh, this fucking sucks. I don't like you. And becomes the villain of the story. And then halfway through the game, you have a run in with her.
As Ellie?
As Ellie, and you have the fight. And you have a fight with her. No, it's just before the fight. You're about to have a fight with her, and then the game stops, and it switches, and you jump back to the start of the game, except now you're playing as Abby. So people are like...
So you need to get to the confrontation as both characters.
Yeah, and people are like, I don't want to play as this fucking bitch who did this fucking awful thing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in this fucking cunt's shoes.
Yeah.
And I felt the same. I was like, because the whole idea is you hate her. You're meant to really fucking hate this person so much. Like I hated her more than I've ever hated a video game character in my life.
Wow.
But then that's part of the journey. That's part of the narrative because then you slowly see her interact with other people. You learn things, you get through. And by the time you reach Ellie, you're like, oh, I kind of like Abby. Oh, I get it. She's our villain, but we're her villain.
Right. So there's two. Yeah.
You know, there's two sides to every story, and you follow Joel and you follow Ellie, and obviously they're the main, but they're doing some of the worst things people can do. Like Joel tied two people down in a chair and interrogated them and broke their legs and then just killed one of them just cause. Like,
But we see
we're not
them
good
as
people.
their-
Yeah, we see Joel
as
as the
the
hero.
hero.
So the whole idea is you have to view it from two different perspectives, and you do, and you encounter people that, like, you encounter Ellie and Joel and like people, Joel's brother, like, and you see them, and like there's this really great sequence where you're getting shot at by a sniper. A sniper is trying to like assassinate you.
Who are you at the moment?
You're Abby,
Abby.
the villain of the story.
Yeah.
But you're
And
pretty
you're-
deep. You're pretty deep into the story at this point, in her story. So you kind of like, I like Abby, and you start getting shot at by this sniper who's trying to pick you off, and you're like, we need to get up there and we need to fucking take this guy out.
Mm-hmm,
And then by the time you get like close to him, you realize it's Joel's brother, and you're like,
Right.
oh, this person. Because I'm like, for the love of fucking God, stop shooting at me.
Yeah.
Like it's really, really an annoying challenge to stay out of the sniper's line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
And they're ruthless. And when he kills one of your friends, he picks off one of your friends, and this good person, and you're like, oh, this was a good character, and they died. And then you get to them, and you're like, oh, Tommy killed that guy,
Mm-hmm.
but Tommy's a good guy. And it for me, it played out the way it's supposed to, the way that he intended.
He intended.
I hated her, got into her shoes when I genuinely don't want to play this game, but I persevered and I learnt to like really love her as a character, understand her better, and almost sort of a little bit hate Joel and Ellie. And then you get there and
But that's the point, right?
the whole point is you are the
Here's
villain.
the other perspective.
You're the hero of whoever your story
Yeah.
you're living out. And then the hardest part is then taking the place of Ellie and going back into Ellie's shoes and just slowly.
So you get to the fight.
Yeah, you do the fight. I can't remember in what order this all takes place, whether you've done this already or you do this post, but you like play as Ellie, live this experience, play as Abby, live her experience, go back to Ellie, and then you're just slowly picking off and killing the people that you just met in Abby's story. Like people who have stories and people who are good people, funny people,
You've got to switch
interesting
sides
people. When you
again.
switch back and you just start killing these people, and you're like, Jesus,
Am I the fifth?
I didn't want to. There's one point where you kill a pregnant woman and
Mm.
you're like, oh, that doesn't feel good. That makes
Mm-hmm.
me feel not good in my tummy. Plus, I know, and people really had a problem with Abby as a character.
Even though she had her own hero arc, she's just trying to do
Just trying
in
to do
her
it,
life.
trying to do what she's supposed to be doing. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the, I would accept genuine like criticism, and people like, I just didn't enjoy it, because I get it. If you got to that point and wanted to turn the game off, so did I. I just didn't. And if you did, sure. But a lot of the criticism was like, it was this, the gameplay was crap, the pacing was bad, the blah, 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 which was just...
This is all Abby's arc that they're complaining
No,
about?
they're just complaining about the game in general.
Oh, okay.
So people come in and talk about the game being shit, and they're like, they say all these things. I'm like, that's not true. The gameplay was really good. The game was great. If you put the story aside, the gameplay functioned really well. It was undeniably fantastic. And they would say all this stuff that I'm like, I don't know if that's true. And they'd be like, and also this fucking woke ass gen fucking liberal fucker bullshit. And you're like, oh, I see. You're angry about something else.
And you just have to make your reasons
Yeah.
seem valid by
That seemed to
adding all this
happen.
filler bullshit.
It happened a lot, where a lot of the criticisms were sprinkled with a tone of misogyny or transphobia, or
There you go.
and you'd be like, oh well, it's hard to take you seriously now because you've shown me your cards,
Yeah.
and your cards seem to be, I don't like this woman because how can woman be so buff?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, are we really getting into the weeds of like, how can a woman get this strong in the zombie apocalypse when she can barely get protein in her body? I'm
I
like,
was going to say.
who cares, man?
Yeah.
How come zombies happen in the first place? Like,
Have you not seen like female wrestlers?
yeah, I get the theory being like, it's the same thing with Game of Thrones. They're like, how can Sam be fat? He can barely eat. How can he be a fat? And it's like, there's dragons, man. You know, it's like
Relax.
there's zombies. Who cares that she's...
He's an actor.
If her idea is that she got buff so that she could fucking beat up people that caused her trouble when she was younger, I'm accepting it
Yeah.
because it's a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Weird time. So I'm really looking forward to that all happening again in season 2
Yeah.
of The Last of
on
Us,
the
having to
TV
live through that,
show.
because that was a big chunk of time.
When you look at Ellie and Abby's storylines next to each other,
Mm-hmm.
just in a linear fashion,
Hmm.
is there a right side or a wrong side?
No, they're both terrible, shitty people. I think Ellie is wrong because Ellie and Joel do something that's horrific.
Mm-hmm.
And then Abby responds and bites back.
Yeah.
And then they could have left it there, but then Ellie decides to bite back again. And technically she can bite back because really it was Joel who did the first thing, not her.
Yeah.
Even though they were a team. It was kind of out of her control, whatever. So she bites back, but she just pushes so fucking hard. Like she...
Just blinded by rage.
Blinded by rage. She it's like, it's not one for one. It's like... Joel kills someone Abby loves. Abby kills someone Ellie loves.
Yep.
Ellie kills every single person that Abby has ever met. It's not comparable.
Okay.
And at some point, she goes, I've had mine, but I'm not ending this until Abby's dead.
Right.
I want Abby to be
So she's going to make Abby suffer?
You know what? At this point,
then
I've
bury
spoiled
her.
everything.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to tell
Let's.
everyone. So,
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert. Joel kills Abby. Sorry. Oh, Jesus Christ. Joel in the first game when he goes to the hospital to free Ellie because they're going to...
Ellie's got the cure, right?
To find a cure, they have to kill her. So while she's unconscious, he kills every walking person in the hospital, takes her out. In the process of that, like lies to her. She wakes up in the car and he's like, they couldn't do it. There's loads of people like you, so now we're just going to go
You're
back
not
to
special,
Tommy's.
that's fucking Geo.
Yeah, but she kills everyone in the hospital. Part of that was one of the doctors that she killed was Abby's dad, and you learn that deep into the second game.
Joel
Kills Abby's dad, but you don't know why she's so. You know she's with the Fireflies, the people that run the hospital. So you know Abby is at the start of the game. You realize Abby is paying revenge for what happened at the hospital. But it's not till you get into her story that you learn that her actual dad was a pretty substantial member of the hospital and he got killed. And in the first game, in fact, you walk into where Ellie is, and this one doctor is like, you can't take her, and he like pulls a scalpel on you and you fucking shoot him or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the dad.
Yeah, right.
So it's sort of retroactively.
It's like, this is going to save the human race.
Yeah,
Joel's
retroactively
like,
they turn that
my
character.
daughter.
My daughter. So then Abby, at the start of Last of Us 2, it's sort of how Last of Us 2 starts. You do a prologue and then Abby shows up and kills Joel. And that's a tough way to start a game because you love Joel. Joel was the main character of the first game.
Yep.
And then you start The Last of Us 2 by watching Joel get fucking
clobbered
to death. And you're like, what the fuck? There's just no Joel for the rest of this game? It's done.
Yeah.
Fuck this game.
Yeah.
Admittedly, as you play the game, you do flashbacks and you get to see Joel and see patches of time with Joel. Joel does play a substantial role in the game through flashbacks.
Yeah. But when you finish the first game,
Yeah.
how does Abby capture Joel to lead into the second game?
Well, the first game finishes and then it jumps ahead 5 years.
The second game
The
jumps
second
ahead.
game,
yeah.
you start there at the start. So Ellie's a bit older. I think she's like 18 or 19 instead of like 12 or 13 or whatever
Yes,
or 14,
yes.
whatever she was. And a lot of the flashbacks you see, all of
missing chunks.
the flashbacks happen during that 5 years
Mm-hmm.
to sort of fill in because you leave the game with Ellie saying,
Ellie escapes hospital.
and Ellie says, tell me, like, this is the truth, that what you said is the truth, and that I really am not special, and that everything you said was, and he's like, yeah, it's the truth. Game ends. You jump ahead 5 years, and Ellie and Joel aren't talking, and there's some tension between the two of them. So you spend the whole game being like, I wonder what happened between Joel and Ellie. Maybe she realized, and you learn
Maybe
all of
she
that.
finds out.
You learn all that through flashbacks. That's not so important to the story now, what we're talking about, but it's just like a routine day. Everybody in this camp, this big, like, have basically rebuilt a town. Everything's kind of cool. There's cafes and like people go out and clear zombies and come back. It's like a nice little town.
Yep.
And
Like mole people underground kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where Joel goes out on a run and these people have tracked all the way from the hospital. This small group, Abby and her friends of like 12 people,
Yep.
have gone on this expedition to try and literally track down Joel Miller
Yep.
to kill him for what he did
Yeah.
as revenge.
Yeah.
And they do that. That's where the game starts. You just sort of, you see it, you run into Abby. She's like, come back to my camp, like, because they're getting chased by zombies. Come back to the camp. We're all good people. We're all getting along. We all helped each other. Come back. You can rest here, and then you can head off back to your camp in the morning. And they get there and they're like, "What's your names?" And he's like, "My name's Tommy." And says, "It's my brother Joel." And it's the coolest moment where you're like, he's like, "It's my brother Joel," and like everybody in the room like stops and like,
This is all Abby's clan.
yeah, and they're like, "Oh shit, have we accidentally caught the right?" It's it's a narrative device where it's like,
Yeah.
this,
Be like,
what are the
"Oh,
fucking chances?
You're the dude we're trying to execute."
But they
Sick
go,
one.
"This is perfect. We've got him away from the camp. He's here on a thing." And they go, "All right, we got him." And then they kill him.
Yeah.
And Ellie shows up right at the end because they're like, Joel didn't come back. Joel didn't check in, and his last thing, she goes there. She watches him get clobbered to death, and they're about to kill her. And then they're like, "Dude, she's not like the whole reason we came here was to kill him. He's dead. These two, the brother and Ellie, have nothing to do with it."
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of makes them almost better than Joel and Ellie, because Joel and Ellie will just kill indiscriminately.
Yeah.
Man, I just realized we're podcasting. This can't be interesting.
Oh, special Last of Us podcast.
So they would kill indiscriminately. These guys go, "We've got our revenge. Joel is dead. Joel killed everybody. Joel is dead. Let's leave it there and let's walk away." And realistically, everybody should have walked away. And then Ellie's like, "They killed Joel. I'm going to get them."
Yeah. Okay.
So that's how the game starts.
Is there a reason why Abby needed to clobber him to death?
I think she just wanted to give him like the worst pain she possibly could. And she just had a golf club.
Yeah.
So she wanted to like torture him and hurt him, and he killed her dad, and
Does she say to him in that moment, like, "You fucking naughty snag"? Like,
yeah, I assume so. Like you see her at the very get go. Be like, there's like she wallops him. She shoots him with a shotgun and takes out his entire kneecap, so his legs barely hanging on.
Okay.
That's a shocking moment. That's the first thing that happens. He says something like he's like, "Y'all act as if you know us," and he's like, "'Cause we do." Bang! His fucking leg comes
Right.
off, and you're like, "Well, this can't be good."
Yeah,
because
okay.
that's not something you can really come back from in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, is it no leg?
Your leg is hanging on probably just by the genes.
Yeah.
And then she does something like, "Do you know who I am?" or something like that. And then you don't see them again until Ellie comes back right at the end. So maybe in that like 20 or half an hour patch of like
You
torture,
killed my father.
she might have revealed some shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Ellie comes in. "Please don't kill my daddy.
Yeah.
My daddy, please."
It's the greatest fucking story. And then I don't really want to spoil the end of the game, but people did not like the ending. But let's just say that. And they didn't like the way that it ended because
Don't both. Spoiler alert.
spoiler. I'm really going to spoil it now, everybody.
They live.
They
both
live.
of them.
They get down to their final confrontation. Abby has been kidnapped by these like really, really bad people, and Ellie knows she's there. She gets there, sees her like hung up, like all these people that have been like captured by these guys, basically like crucified. They're just hung up on poles, and she's from the muscly chick that she was. She's just down to scrawny nothing.
Yeah, she's wasting away.
And you have your final confrontation where Ellie's like,
water?
"This is everything I've wanted. Like we're fucking doing this," and
Yeah.
they
Take your earrings out, bitch.
Yeah, that sort of. It's like go, and then she decides to let her live. Like Ellie gets her down to her last thing and says, "You know what, I'm going to let you live," and just sort of walks away. And then people go, "What the fuck did I just play this game for?"
Yeah.
The entire time I played through this whole goddamn adventure. But you watch flashbacks and you see Ellie learning stuff as the game goes on. You see this
like-
adventure she's been on. Then
Forgiveness is actually attainable.
it chills, and there's a point where it like stops, like, and she goes and lives in the house, and then they find out where Abby is, and she's like, "I'm going to get her," and the partner of her is like, "For the love of God, please just leave it." And she's going through a lot. In that moment, if she decides this isn't worth it, everybody look at like, she doesn't say all this. It's not that fucking lame. It's just something you have to interpret, that she's realized this isn't all worth it. And the experience that
She gets her fingers munched off and everything. Like she's beaten up pretty bad as well.
it's like a 20-hour journey that you go through as these characters, and then I don't want either of them to die. So it worked for me where I went, okay, she's accepted that no one's come out of this any better. Let's walk away from the situation. People are like, "Fuck, and I went through all that to not kill that bitch." And I'm like, if by that point you don't have sympathy for Abby, that's a you problem.
I'd imagine you would want both of them to live.
You need to
They
get
both got,
fucking destroyed.
yeah.
You need to get your head checked if by that point you want you have no sympathy for Abby, and you're just like, kill her. I'm like, you're ill-equipped, you're emotionally immature, and
That's the best outcome for them to be like, you know what? We've actually kicked the fuck out of each other.
I think the people didn't like that it was like, oh, of course. Like that's such a,
So
of course they did
typical.
that ending. But I don't think it was, like maybe the ending was a little cliche that they both went, we're walking away from this, but the journey wasn't cliche. The story wasn't a cliched story. Maybe if the ending of people both walking away, maybe you could argue that was a cliche, that everyone ends up okay, but they're not really. They're just both alive.
Was Ellie the victor? Was Ellie the one to say enough?
I truly can't remember. She was the one, she had like, she could have killed her then and there. Like she had the final blow ready to come and she didn't take it. So she is technically like, she made the decision.
To stop fighting.
Yeah.
And Abby didn't swing at her again.
No. And I think Abby, I might be misremembering this because it's been a long time since I played it, but I do think that Abby was like, I don't want to fight you.
Yeah, okay.
Like, for the love of God, just let me go.
I've been on a fucking pole like a goddamn scarecrow for too long.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. It's time for us to
But
fucking...
I will bite your fingers off.
Yep. I can't remember when she gets her fingers or why she gets her.
Isn't she trying to like, I've seen clips of this fight where she's holding her head underwater.
Yeah, that's and there's like a boat. That's like properly like in ocean water, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mate, is
Because
that
there is a boat.
Is that when her fingers get bit off, or do her fingers get bit off before then?
No, I think she's like holding her head underwater.
Yeah.
And then you've got Abby's biting on your fingers and you've got to like press the button to pull the fingers away and your hand comes off but the fingers don't.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking ruthless. Like
the fact that she got her fingers bitten off and was still wanting to fight, that makes me like feel yucky in my tummy.
Well, I mean, at that point, it's like it's fight to the death. You gotta fucking go. The first fight is when they first have their encounter. When the bit where you lead up to before you split, like that first fight that they have is pretty fucking. That's a scrag fight. That
really?
That you never fucking like just really like wailing. And you when you get to the fight, you play as Abby, not as Ellie. So Ellie.
The end fight.
No, this is the first fight. There's a fight like you play Abby's story. Sorry, you play Ellie's story.
Yep.
Up to confrontation with Abby.
Yep.
Right before you're about to fight, you're actually just in each other's way.
Yeah.
And then you jump back and you play as Abby leading up to that, and then you have the actual fight as Abby. And it's sort of like it's cool because you're like Ellie's fucking hard. She's like. She's smaller and she's agile and she's got a knife and you're just brawn and you just and eventually you get her and you wallop the shit. I think there's like a thing where like then Ellie's partner shows up and you like beat her, but you know as the player you're like no don't hit her, she's pregnant, like she has a baby in her tummy, and you're like you stab her or like it's just wild. And
Who's pregnant? Ellie.
Ellie's partner.
Ellie's partner.
Dina.
Okay.
It's got pregnant by her last boyfriend or something. Mm-hmm. It's just, man, is it crazy story. Mm-hmm. And season 2, it won't be one season. It'll probably be 2 or 3 seasons because that's a long game. First season was the first game.
Yep. All the way through?
Yeah, it played out really well. Mm-hmm. But the second game has just too much going on to be crammed into one season.
Part 1, part 2, you reckon?
I reckon season 2, season 3. And they might, I don't know if they're going to kill off Joel right at the start like they did with the game. Maybe they'll do something different. But Joel needs to die. But the problem is it's a show, and once you lose Pedro Pascal, you've just got that Bella Ramsey girl.
Is Pedro the shining star of the cast?
Yeah. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And like Joel, it's the same deal as Joel, but I still played the game even though I didn't have Joel. But would I have watched the story if I lost Joel? Probably. And he's still in flashbacks. Like, Pedro will still be in the show, just in those flashbacks where you see those 5 years go down.
Isn't the guy from Parks and Rec in it as well?
He's gone. He played a character. I don't remember in the first game. You remember you go to Bill's town in the first game? It's just this sort of small section where you go to a town where this guy Bill lives and you interact with him and then you leave. And then you just, he just stays there.
Okay.
It's a small section of the game and he played Bill in the show. And it was really, really, really good. They changed it up. They completely changed his character and the way it played out and stuff. And it was just a beautiful episode of television. I hope it won awards.
I remember you posting about it on your Instagram.
I was like, this is just fucking unreal. And as a fan of the game, I should have been like, I don't like this isn't Bill. Because it wasn't Bill. It was a totally different character. and you didn't play any of that section of Bill's town. The entire episode was just focusing on Bill's past. And you watch Bill's whole story of how he got up until when he met Joel, and then it had nothing to do with Joel and Ellie. You didn't do the Bill's town section where you go into the town, you try and find a car. None of that happened. It was just you, in the context of the show, they were just coming to the town to get something off Bill.
Yeah.
Which is just like a 5-minute scene where they walk into the town, they go to Bill's house, they grab some shit, and then they go.
Yeah, right.
But for that episode, it was like an hour long of watching Bill living alone in this town. Some guy shows up. They learn that they're both gay. They fall in love. They have
Lulu.
It's beautiful. It's so fucking good.
Just eating my scrunchie.
Good show. Good show, good game. If you're not on The Last of Us, you're a damned fool.
Compare that to Fallout.
Better than Fallout. Fallout's a fine show.
I watched the first episode and I didn't like it.
It's a fine show. I thought the first episode was really strong. I think
I haven't played the games. I've only played Fallout 4, and I only really get to the part where the game starts.
Where you go out into the wasteland.
Yeah.
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 The show,
you leave the robot behind and...
Yeah. The show was good. Good show. Not the greatest television show of all time. But as far as like game TV shows go, I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
I watched the entire thing with Em.
Yep.
And she wasn't as big a fan as I was. So I think you do have to have some love for the game to enjoy it. But she did not enjoy it. She was just like, that was good. Mm-hmm. I think the final episode didn't catch her as much either.
I haven't watched I watched the whole first episode, maybe a little bit of the second episode. There was a scene I liked where the guy with no nose, who's like a skeleton, he's like watching the explosion happen. Yeah. And they're at like some house Tupperware party or whatever.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
But
the final episode is like this thing where again, spoilers everybody. She spends the whole game looking for her dad who's gone away, and there might be some indication that her mum's still kicking around in the wasteland. And then you eventually come across this lady, and this lady has like a zombie tied up in her like penthouse thing, a zombie that she kind of just like has there as like a prop, as a tool.
Is that the lady that is on the roof in the game? It's not the same lady, is it?
No. Anyways, you see, like, you look at the zombie and she's got this necklace that only your mum, and you're like, oh, that's her mum. And I don't know if there's some big, like, that's my mum reveal, but I was like, oh, it's, I remember being like shocked by that moment and being like, whoa. And I think Em was like, duh. So I was maybe a bit dumb about that revelation. So it hit me differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we do a post show? That was so much chatter.
It was chatty
Just a little chatty pod. It was, yeah.
Like, I tried to explain The Last of Us to the dumbest cunt alive.
Hey, it's GMat here from The Real GMat, and don't forget, if you enjoyed that episode of Mentally Illegal and you want to hear more, we also have the podcast post show available exclusively to our Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/GMat podcasts. The podcast post show is a shorter episode recorded directly after the main podcast where we just keep on chatting. Again, patreon.com/GMat podcasts. Don't forget to thumbs up, rate, and like this podcast on your podcast app of choice and share it with all of your friends.